It only adds to the fact that you really need to be thinking with your heart, not your head. You don't go into your head, man. Stay out of your head. Your head is stupid. Your head's putting you into paralysis of analysis. I know when I was doing the collab with Nicole Brenny that I was like, I think everyone's gonna get divorced this year. I'm not joking. Hi guys, it's Alyssa and welcome back to my channel, The Divine Venus, where I put out videos on astrology. This video is going to be your 2022 forecast. Before I get into it, I do want you to know I put out a video with Nicole Brenny, Listen to the Stars, over New Year's. We did a world prediction, which is on my channel, and we did all signs on her channel. Altogether, that was 5.5 hours of footage, so there's lots and lots of good information in case you're into like really going into depth with your signs and everything. This video is going to be more short and sweet. In fact, I'm going to see how short and sweet I can make it with still giving you the major information about your year. So the first thing we're going to talk about is that 2022 is a 6 year. 6 is ruled by Venus. So it is a Venusian year. We started 2022 out with Venus in retrograde. So even though it's a 6 year, this is definitely going to be us like going internally more so in a Venusian way than quite possibly externally. And what that means is like self-discovery, you know, redoing the way we look, and maybe not doing it during Venus retrograde, okay? Like don't like up anything too bad during Venus retrograde. But when Venus retrograde is over, the element and the energy of the retrograde will still be around, telling you, yeah, you can, you know, rethink like your love life, rethink what you're passionate about, rethink how you treat yourself, rethink your value, rethink money, how you're spending money and how you're putting money out into the world and all of that stuff. And on top of that, the North Node is going to go into Taurus January 19th. So that's right at the beginning of the year. So that's Taurus is also ruled by Venus. And having that kind of Venus year with the North Node in Taurus, like we are pretty much set on a Venusian year. Last year, I titled my video like everybody needs to be a Virgo this year because we are so mercurial, but like in a very Virgo type way. And I don't know if you realize that last year, 2021, like went by super fast. That is very mercurial energy. Very like, because your mind is just fast and it jumps from one thing to another. You probably felt like really enlightened and all of that wonderful stuff. But this year, it might seem to go a little slower or maybe a little bit more they are moving in a weird way so far. But that could also be because Venus is retrograde. Now, there are 4 Mercury retrogrades this year. Those Mercury retrogrades, the way you're going to survive them, by the way, is through staying in your Venusian energy. Mercury retrograde acts very, very Venusian, like very Venus-y when it goes retrograde. Because instead of thinking with your head, you're going to think with your heart or your sacral. You got to be creative. You got to think outside the box. You can't be jamming your head into the same wall you've always jammed your head in, hoping that it's going to like open up for you like it always does, because it just won't. So I'm not worried about these Mercury retrogrades. Last year, I was like, those Mercury retrogrades are going to be awful, and they were. So, you know, just patting myself on the back. And I just knew that because it's a Mercury year and then Mercury goes retrograde. What are you going to do, right? This is the Venusian year. So the biggest issue here is when Venus goes retrograde, and we're in it right now as I'm speaking. If you're watching this later in the year, we don't have any more Venus retrogrades, so that's good. But to stay in your Venus energy all year would be really, really great. And that is like, it's like quality time with yourself, with people who are actually connected to you, with people who actually love you, and like loving yourself, and maybe finding people who are only mirrors of that energy. So if you are at a place of like really learning to take care of yourself and nurture yourself and spend quality time with yourself, then you might understand what it looks like when someone else is bringing that to the table. You might want to look at the 5 love languages too, and actually ask yourself, well, what are your love languages and what are your partner's love languages, right? And if they don't match, you can see how you might have some incompatibilities. Now, if you don't know what the love languages are, it's physical touch, quality time, acts of service, gifts, and words of affirmation. And the thing what I've noticed is that a lot of people have closed off their hearts so much to love that they might not be offering you any of them. And like you'd be like, dude, I would take like like acts of service isn't even mine, but I'd literally fucking pay for him to do the dishes or something like that. Or why on earth can I not figure out their love language? And I've noticed it just comes from people who don't really have any love for you. They might be able to like perform it if you ask them to, but if it's not coming naturally, I wouldn't suggest you trying to yank it out of them, right? Some people just don't have love for you, and you can put that into personality disorders like narcissist or covert narcissism or histrionic or borderline or something like that. You can if you want to, or you can just like look inside of yourself and be like, what do I want? Do I want scraps from the person I'm with, or do I just want like real love? And you might have to start loving yourself to figure out why. There's another thing too, because Neptune is in Pisces and Jupiter is also in Pisces right now until May 11th, that the like rose-colored glasses and fantasies can come out of this. So like say you're in a really abusive relationship, or like with somebody who doesn't love you, like an emotionally maybe abusive, and you don't really realize, you might start fantasizing. Or if your heart is not open to the person you're with, you might start fantasizing about something better. And the one thing that I would say if that happens is to really ground yourself in reality. Not because the fantasy isn't real, it could be real, but I mean, it's not your savior. You're your savior. The more you give love to yourself, the more love, real love, will be allowed to come into yourself. Fantasies are kind of like up here, and your heart is what you need to be in a relationship. So you kind of just need to ground the fantasies in reality, because real love does exist. Real romance does exist. Someone who is willing to like give you a form of a love language does exist, but it has to come to you, you know? So ground your fantasies in reality. And if you're ashamed of your fantasies because you're with someone, maybe look at the person you're with and maybe you don't love them, or maybe they don't love you. I mean, those are just things that I think that we're all going to be dealing with. I know when I was doing the collab with Nicole Brenny that I was like, I think everyone's going to get divorced this year. I'm not joking, okay? Like, I'm not even joking about that, okay? And I just think that you should know now that it's okay. The one thing, like, as the North Node's in Taurus and the South Node's in Scorpio, Scorpio's about like intimate relationships. That's where we're clearing out all the karma. The Venus is retrograde. We're rethinking what we love. Like all of this stuff is happening. And so if during January and December you were like, wait, I don't know if this is right, you might be on the road to a divorce. Now, being on the road to a divorce can either blindside you because you don't know this is happening and because you're in denial, or you can just gradually walk into it one day at a time. So the best way to do that is just to take care of yourself and to have boundaries. If you don't have any boundaries, Jupiter in Pisces is going to let you know that you don't have any boundaries. So take care of those. Be able to say no. If you're asking somebody for a separation, say, and they won't give you one, make sure that they do, right? Like those are things, and it's okay. I know that I have an issue with disappointing people and making people angry, and I'm willing to bend over backwards and hate myself to make sure that somebody's not disappointed or angry at me, and I have to deal with that. And it's already, with Jupiter in Pisces, I've been shown that about myself, but it's allowed it to be a lot easier and create a lot more optimism within me to be a better, caring person to myself. So that is something that is collective. It's not just me. It's all over right now. The collective North Node in Taurus, Jupiter in Pisces, Venus retrograde starting off the year, and Neptune's in Pisces as well. So that's a big thing, and it's going to be like a big thing through the beginning of the year. Saturn is still going to be in Aquarius, and it's been for a year. So this is similar energy to last year as far as what Saturn is breaking apart. However, last year Jupiter was in Aquarius with Saturn. So in a way, it was protecting Saturn, but also Saturn was taking away the optimism of Jupiter. So now that they're separated, Jupiter and Saturn in two different signs, we should feel more optimistic, but Saturn is also going to be a little harsher. Okay. And what it's going to be harsh in is an Aquarian energy, which is like groups, communities, things like astrology. They fall in Aquarius. The internet falls in Aquarius, humanitarianism, cancel culture. So all these things that we have been dealing with, we're going to be dealing with more, especially because Uranus is in Taurus, and that's where the North Node is as well. And Uranus rules Aquarius, modern ruler of Aquarius. And that is really a lot of upheaval within ourselves according to the group. Okay. So we're separating ourselves from the group to find ourselves to re-enter a better group, which talks a lot about separation, breaking the chains, and divorce, and leaving communities and all of that stuff. Maybe leaving the things that you know behind to go do what you were meant to do, because now you know what you were meant to do. You weren't meant to follow somebody else's authority. You're meant to follow your inner authority. And if you think that your inner authority doesn't match with somebody else, then you need to get into astrology or tarot or something, because collective stuff really is like, there is somebody who is collectively the same as you. You know, there's people who are like you, but since we are all scattered and all in separation from ourselves, we never meet these people because they're doing the same thing. So even if nobody has been pulled out of their own personal matrix yet, and you're the only one, at least get there so that when somebody else gets pulled out too, they see you and you can be like, hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm just like you. We're both out of here. So free yourself first. That's the first part of the year. Like, everybody should be freeing themselves. If you are in a good relationship, if you are in a loving household, if things are really good and you really do love yourself, like, and you're nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself, this won't be that difficult. But even the best of us are going through it. So if you are going through it, don't feel like you're alone. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right track. Just keep moving forward and keep doing things for love, in like a physical version of love. Pluto has one more year in Capricorn, basically, and it's been there for like a decade. So Capricorn, or people like in cardinal signs, Libra, Cancer, Aries, and Capricorn, had been hit pretty hard for like a decade. We got into Pluto in Capricorn January 2008. It left because it went retrograde in June 2008. Then November 26, 2008 until March 23rd, 2023, it's been in Capricorn, just like solidly. So that's when it's hit all the cardinal signs. So if you are a cardinal sign or have a lot of cardinal energy, Pluto has been transforming this, has been taking a lot away from you, has been hurting, but it's almost over. Now, it is going to go into Aquarius in 2023, but it's going to pop back out June 11th, 2023 until January 20th, 2024. And then it's going to go back in. It's going to go like kind of retrograde back and forth between Pluto and Aquarius and Pluto and Capricorn in 2024 and 2023. So this is the last big year though of Pluto and Capricorn. That's what I'm trying to say, because after that it's going to kind of be popping in and out. And since we know about like the United States Pluto return, I actually talk about that on my channel. It's in my last video and that will be linked below so you can watch that if you want to. But it's been affecting everybody on major life movements. I think because it's cardinal too, and cardinal is a sign of people being able to go out and do the things that they want to do, it's really made it so we can't. And like when Pluto's in a fixed sign like it will be, I think that we're going to have better luck going out and doing things, because cardinal signs are movable. They do stuff. They go out after it, you know? And if you're one of those people, you probably notice, like, I haven't been able to go after what I want. It's been harder and harder. But when it goes into Aquarius, it's going to be a little bit different. And it's going to be more like, I have to go out because if I'm home, everything is stagnant. If I'm fixed, things are stagnant. So just watch out for that, because this is the last like real full year of making it more difficult to go out and do what you want. But I also feel like it's important to go out and do what you want and do the things that are meant for you, even if they break you down, even if they cause those big tower moments, because you need them. You really do. You need to move because we're getting ready that the people who aren't moving are going to be the people hurting. And that's what you want to avoid in 2024 and 2023. I'm like jumping ahead of myself so much. The other thing is May 11th to October 29th, Jupiter is going to move into Aries. So this energy we feel at the beginning of the year with Jupiter isn't going to be there the whole year. It's going to go into Aries, which is going to eliminate the sign of Aries. And it's also going to get out of maybe these rose-colored glasses and more into energy that is like about yourself, you know, like who you are, where you're going. If you've been really trying to become a better person psychologically, then this is going to be like, okay, now I am, so now I can move forward. Now I can do these fun things with the people that I love, like that kind of energy. So that looks pretty good. You might find that people are in your face more, you know, like they're like, if everybody's doing their own thing, we might start crossing paths and hitting each other. But at the same time, eventually that chaos will find order and formation. And so I believe that's 2022 is trying to get that. Like, here's your identity. Like, this is who you really are. We need to move you into the correct location so that we can start moving the way that the world was meant to move and not based on people in the wrong groups and following the wrong authority and all that. On August 21st until 2023, Mars is going to be in Gemini all year. And I bring this up because I remember the first time I noticed a really, really hardcore Mars transit was when Mars was in Libra for half the year. And I just want you to know, like, everything was passive aggressive bullshit. So you want to look at, like, if Mars is in a sign for more than like a month, you really want to pay attention to it. So after August 21st, Mars is going to go into Gemini. It's going to go retrograde in Gemini, and it's going to be direct in Gemini. And this is a lot about your mind. And it just only adds to the fact that there are 4 Mercury retrogrades this year. And it only adds to the fact that you really need to be thinking with your heart, not your head. You don't go into your head, man. Stay out of your head. Your head is stupid. Your head's putting you into paralysis of analysis. Your head is telling you that this person loves you when they don't and this person doesn't love you when they do. Like, that kind of energy is what's going to be happening. Or that this job is right for you when it's not, just because it's comfortable. Like, you really need to follow your heart. I promise you it will take you where you need to go. So that is the major run of the year. And again, if you want to know more about each sign, watch the video with me and Nicole Brenny because we really go into it much more. Okay,